All right, let's dive into the world of one of literature's most cunning characters, Ferdinand Count Fathom.
Oh, he's a fascinating one.
Yeah, you sent me these excerpts from Tobias Smollett's novel. This guy
Oh, yeah.
makes your average con artist look like an amateur.
It's true. Fathom takes deception to a whole other level. It's interesting that Smollett wrote this back in the 18th century, way before that anti-hero thing became so popular. He was really ahead of the curve.
So we're introduced to Fathom's kind of unusual beginning. No silver spoon for this guy, abandoned as a baby, raised in a military camp. Not exactly the ideal environment to develop a strong moral compass.
Right. You could say that,
Yeah.
but it's almost like those early experiences made him the master manipulator he becomes, learning to read people, situations, exploit weaknesses, and seize opportunities.
Yeah, just to survive.
Exactly.
And then we have Renaldo, kind of the opposite of Fathom.
Right.
Both orphans, taken in by this kind colonel, but their paths diverge dramatically. Renaldo excels in traditional schooling, embodying honesty and integrity. Fathom's talents, though,
A little bit different.
a little bit different, yeah.
Let's just say Fathom's education was more street smart,
Yeah,
quick-witted, charming, and utterly ruthless when it comes to getting what he wants.
taking credit for Renaldo's brilliant translation as a kid, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's something else.
Next level.
He even convinced the teacher that Renaldo plagiarized from him.
Right.
The audacity.
It shows those manipulative tendencies were there from the beginning, and as he grows, they just become more refined, more insidious. He masters disguise, language, social cues, all tools for his deception.
This is where we get into some of his truly outrageous schemes. The one with the jeweler's daughter and her mother.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, playing with fire.
Playing with fire.
He uses their jealousy against each other, spinning this elaborate web of lies to steal that priceless necklace.
It's like he's orchestrating this play. Everyone around him, like unwitting actors. And he's so good, nobody suspects a thing.
But it's not just the material gain, is it?
No.
There's the thrill of the con, the power he gets from outsmarting everyone. Like he gets a perverse satisfaction from it.
Definitely an element of that. Almost like he needs to prove his superiority, validate his existence through these acts of deception.
Which brings us to that fascinating dynamic between Fathom and Renaldo. He uses Renaldo, betrays him repeatedly, yet there are these glimmers of, well, maybe not friendship, but something more complex.
It's one of the most interesting parts of the novel. He seems to care for Renaldo on some level, even saving him from certain situations, but then he'll turn around and exploit him again, no hesitation.
So is it genuine or just calculated? Does he feel any guilt?
That is the question. Smollett leaves it open to interpretation, which makes Fathom even more fascinating. He's an enigma, and we're left trying to figure him out.
And then there's that encounter with Eleanor, later in the story. This woman he wrongs so deeply, left destitute, heartbroken. Years later, he finds her again, even more broken by fate.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Ferdinand Count Fathom. We left off with that encounter with Eleanor, the woman he wronged.
It's really striking how Smollett shows us the impact of Fathom's actions, especially on Eleanor. She isn't just a victim of his, seduction. She's suffered terribly loss of family, reputation, her sanity even.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that Fathom's charm hides a real disregard for others. He may be good at weaving these schemes, but he leaves a trail of destruction behind him.
Exactly. And yet there's this uncertainty about him. We see moments where he could be feeling genuine remorse, like he hesitates, regrets the pain he's caused.
Like when he rescues Renaldo from prison, even though it's dangerous for him. Or when he sees Eleanor again, you almost sense a bit of empathy in his reaction.
Right. Those moments make you wonder if there's some humanity in him under all that deception. Is he capable of change?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Smollett leaves us hanging. The excerpts end right as things are getting interesting, leaving us to wonder about Fathom's true intentions.
He's inviting us to analyze Fathom, trying to predict his next move. Does he help Eleanor or abandon her again? Face the music or keep deceiving everyone?
And this is what's so fascinating about Smollett's writing. He's not just telling a story, he's painting this really nuanced picture of human nature. He makes us think about good and evil, ambition and empathy, all rolled up in this one flawed character.
Absolutely. Fathom's a walking contradiction, capable of cruelty, but then he shows these flashes of kindness, driven by self-preservation, but he seems to crave connection too, even if he doesn't know how to do it the right way.
It's like he's a victim of his past, shaped by a childhood with no love or stability.
Right.
Not that it excuses his actions, but it helps us understand him a bit more.
And that idea, understanding motivations, is a valuable lesson in itself. We're so quick to judge, to label people as good or bad, but there's often so much more going on. Like with Fathom, there are usually reasons behind people's choices, even the bad ones.
Yeah. It's a reminder to be more empathetic, to try and see things from their point of view. Maybe instead of writing someone off, we try to understand what led them there.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you condone bad behavior, but understanding why someone acts a certain way can help you, navigate how you interact with them, set boundaries, protect yourself.
Right, like Smollett's giving us a lesson in psychology through Fathom, showing us how manipulators work, what they do, and how to spot those signs in real life.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding being manipulated, it's about understanding yourself, too, recognizing your own weaknesses and insecurities so you can be more discerning in your relationships and your choices.
Speaking of manipulation, Smollett was a master of satire, and Fathom is a perfect example. He's like this over-the-top social climber, obsessed with wealth and status.
And this was the 18th century, a time of big social change, class boundaries blurring, people scrambling for power. Smollett uses Fathom to show the hypocrisy of those who valued appearances over substance.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to society, showing us the dangers of unchecked ambition and the emptiness of chasing superficial things. And it's still relevant today, with all the pressure we face to achieve a certain image.
It's a timeless message. True fulfillment doesn't come from material things or status. It comes from real connection, living with purpose and integrity.
Okay, but let's be honest. Fathom's schemes are pretty entertaining. I mean, who hasn't fantasized about pulling off a heist like the one with the jeweler?
Right. There's a certain thrill in watching him outsmart everyone. And Smollett's writing is so witty, you almost find yourself rooting for him, even though he's doing terrible things.
Exactly. There's a reason why anti-heroes are so popular. We're drawn to their complexity, their flaws. They challenge our ideas about good and bad.
And that's what makes Fathom so compelling. He makes us question our own morality,
Right.
Consider the gray areas of behavior. Acknowledge that we all have the capacity for both good and bad.
Speaking of questioning morality, Fathom's relationship with Renaldo raises some interesting points about loyalty, forgiveness, the limits of friendship.
It's a complicated relationship for sure. He seems to genuinely care for Renaldo, often helps him out, but then he'll betray him without a second thought. It's like he's constantly battling these two sides of himself, wanting connection but needing to protect himself and get ahead.
It's almost like a Shakespearean play, two characters connected by circumstance, capable of great love and great betrayal. It's a dynamic we see in real life, too, in families, friendships, even romantic relationships.
And it raises the question, how much can you truly forgive? Is there a point where it's just too much? Or can we reconcile even the deepest wounds?
It's a tough question, and Smollett doesn't give us an easy answer. He leaves us to wrestle with those complexities, to decide for ourselves about forgiveness and redemption.
And that's where Eleanor comes back into the picture, which takes the story in a really intriguing direction.
Welcome back. As we wrap up our look at Ferdinand Count Fathom, we're left wondering, does he find redemption? And what would that even look like for someone like him, who's built his life on deception?
Yeah, it's a question Smollett seems to be wrestling with, too. He gives us these hints that Fathom could change, but then there's all the damage he's done.
Right. We can't forget the pain he's caused, all the lives he's messed up just to get what he wants. So even if he does feel bad, is that enough? Can he really make up for it all?
This is where Eleanor's character is so important. She's not just a victim. She represents this amazing ability to forgive.
She's been through so much, but she doesn't seem bitter or angry at him. It's like she sees something good in him underneath it all.
Exactly. And that forgiveness is even more powerful when you think about the time period. Back then, a woman's reputation was everything. Being abandoned like that would have been devastating.
But Eleanor doesn't want revenge. She chooses a different path, one of compassion and understanding. It's a pretty powerful message even today.
It really is. And it makes you wonder if Eleanor's the key to his potential redemption. Does her belief in him make him want to be better? Maybe awaken a part of him that's been buried?
Maybe. Even if Smollett doesn't show us what happens next, there's this feeling of hope. Like even someone as messed up as Fathom could be redeemed if he truly feels sorry and tries to make things right.
I think that's what makes Fathom's story so interesting. It reminds us that we're all capable of good and bad. We all make mistakes, and we all have the potential to change.
But that takes effort, right? It's not automatic. You have to be willing to face your past, apologize for the bad stuff, and make an effort to live a better life.
Exactly. You have to realize how your actions affect other people and take responsibility for your choices, choosing empathy over selfishness, even when it's hard.
So even though we might never know Fathom's fate, we can learn from him. His story warns us about unchecked ambition and the dangers of chasing power.
But it also shows us that redemption's always possible, even for those who seem beyond hope. It connects with that human desire for second chances, for transformation and growth.
It's amazing how Smollett's novel, from centuries ago, still speaks to us today. Manipulation, ambition, betrayal, redemption. These themes are still relevant now.
That's the power of great writing. It goes beyond time and place, giving us insights into human nature that are timeless. It encourages us to talk about these complicated ideas, ask tough questions, and come away with a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world.
So we've come to the end of our deep dive into Ferdinand Count Fathom, a character who's both repulsive and fascinating. He's a con man, a liar, but maybe, just maybe, someone who could change.
And as we finish, I'm left thinking, maybe we all have a little bit of Fathom in us, not the con artist part, but that mix of darkness and light, selfishness and empathy. Maybe the challenge isn't judging him, but recognizing those same things within ourselves. And choosing, like Eleanor, to have faith in the possibility of change, forgiveness, and yes, redemption.